At its base, this book is a very funny roast on every single state in the country. And every single chapter just starts off with just a funny little phrase that just tees up how you're going to go after them and abuse them. And it is so funny and cutting. And then you get into some bigger topics, which we'll touch on when we get there. But like Minnesota, the heading is Look Busy. Wisconsin, the diet starts tomorrow. Iowa, cauliflowered ears of corn. They're all so good, Colin. I don't appreciate how you handled New Jersey, my home state.
Yeah.
You've always had it out for me in New Jersey. And I feel like you could have been a little nicer to the Garden State.
Well, I mean, I thought I was pretty nice to them, all things considered, you know, because what did I say? That first of all, we dump our garbage there. So already you're going to have low self-esteem. They're the garbage can for New York. I mean, but you allow it. And then I think I said how we share. It's a weird relationship because we share the tunnels and we share the football teams in the stadium. It's a weird relationship, you know.
I like how you say New Jersey was one of the original colonies. New Jersey was one of the original 13 colonies, but people don't see it that way. There's nothing historical or colonial about it. The state just doesn't feel like part of that time period. For better or for worse, they seem like they just appeared, fully formed around 1978.
Yeah, I mean, because when you think about going to historic landmarks like Massachusetts has a few, Connecticut, you know, Virginia, and then New Jersey, you never think of like any beautiful, you know, it doesn't have that feel to it.
Colin, you've always had this crazy sense where just living in New York, whenever we would be talking and someone would be on the street or come by the club, if it didn't matter who they were culturally in the city. They could be from Somalia, they could be from someplace in Russia, they could be somewhere in South America. As soon as you found out where they were from, you knew so many facts about that culture. And then it's displayed in this book where you know so many things about each individual living in the United States. Where did you get that curiosity? What drove that?
Me and my sister, I have a sister, and we had the same curiosity. Every neighborhood, when we were growing up in Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, we knew every neighborhood's ethnic breakdown, what streets they lived on. That was just, I don't know why, it's interesting. And the book, obviously, you and me have both been to almost every state. I've been to 47. I'm sure you've been to at least that, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to go to all the countries. And when I did, long story short, in 2010, my plan was to tour the world, and it just never happened.
Right.
So it wasn't meant to be, but that was my plan, to go to all the countries and do comedy.
Oh, that would have been a good plan. Now we're not allowed to go to other countries.
Now we're not allowed to leave the house. Yes. Maybe I'll do my next book will be all the personalities in my house. Like put the silverware, the linen, you know.
What area of the country do you like to attack the most?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's like anybody that's really cocky, like New York, you know what I mean? Like, I like to attack New York because I know it so well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't really just attack Florida that hard because it's like, what do they call low-hanging fruit? I like to attack states on other things than what you normally would attack them on, you know what I mean?
Right. What's so great about your style of writing is that you'll bring up these subjects and you'll get into it, and then you just hit these runs where it's just joke after joke. It's really you feel your stand-up kind of coming through a lot. And let me just read this part about poor South Dakota. You say, you do have Sturgis. You have the biker rally every year. Every August, all the bikers in the country turn the Super 8 motel into the opening scene of The Warriors. It's the only place where you can get your face kicked in while you're watching a girl in assless chaps dance unironically to Def Leppard. It's for the other 1%ers, not the ones who live in Park Avenue. Everybody in South Dakota has a neck tattoo before it was trendy. if you ask for a paper plate for your hot dog, they think you're gay. You just have these runs in the book like that where you just it really is like a roast. You'll just line after line. You must have spent a lot of time editing this stuff back.
Well, but don't you feel like I found like the key to trying to write, because we're so spoiled by having responses.
Right.
So I found like the key to writing is to write it like I'm doing stand-up, and then it's easier. Whereas if you write it not thinking anyone's going to laugh, then it's harder, you know?
Right.
It makes it easier to write.
Poor South Dakota. I like how you start giving them advice and then say that you're trying harder than they ever tried. You're trying harder than anyone has ever tried to make South Dakota something special.
Yeah, because I have great ideas. Mount Rushmore, instead of stopping at 4 presidents, they should have made it every new president and just keep building. They have all those empty they have nothing but empty cliffs where they could be carving and be the carving state, which all, and then make it like slides, kids could slide down or climb the president. Like, I'm pulling out ideas to these people because, you know, four presidents is fine, but why not keep going?
Right.
Doesn't even make sense to me.
There seems, the reason why this book seems like it's going to be such a big hit, there seems to be an inability for people just in general in the States being able to laugh at themselves. And that seems like it's the most important thing that you can do, because it diffuses any kind of hate, anything anybody throws at you. It's okay. There was a time when we like celebrated your people's ethnic backgrounds and made jokes about it, or you had jokes about yourself and the way that you were raised or your religion. And we seem to have lost a little of that. And it's kind of lowered the tolerance that we have for other people. Do you feel it's...
It was supposed to do the it had the opposite effect that you thought it would have. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was like, well, we thought we were going to protect people and not hurt anyone's feelings, but then we're not all able to just enjoy each other and laugh. It's a very strange, it's a strange moment.
Yeah, celebrate diversity, but don't point out people are different.
Right, yeah, exactly. And you really do. This is an example of how you always weave in bigger subjects. This isn't part of Massachusetts. When you're talking about religion, and you slide into this whole part about religion, and you say, because humanity will always be humanity, even though we may advance technologically, human nature stays the same. We get sidetracked by our character faults. We live the seven deadly sins every bit as much as we did in the colonial times, only now they're digital. Facebook is envy, Twitter is wrath, Instagram is pride, lust, gluttony, greed, and sloth.
Yeah. It's crazy how we still... One thing about social media, it really showed that for the most part, people just like being cruel to each other.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Cruelty. That's one of the biggest things in social media. You know, everybody having delusions of intelligence and cruelty. Those are the two big things I see, you know?
And it seems like human beings have just always been the same. Like, even like with this pandemic, and you read about how it was going on in 1918, it was the same reactions. It was the same fears. It was the same fighting against people that were wearing masks. It was all the same stuff that we're dealing with now, they were dealing with then, which I'm sure they were dealing with in the beginning in Roman times. It's a very strange thing that do you think we evolve? Yeah,
no, I don't. I mean, technologically we evolved, and slowly we do in certain ways, but like society evolves, but
right.
Jealousy, you know, greed, all the 7 deadly sins stay the same.
Right. It's very strange. It's like it's almost like we're just hardwired, and you can't really shake it.
That's right. Yeah.